Welcome back to BST, everybody. Like I said in this morning's episode, what was this? The Sugar Bowl was postponed, and it got done about 3 hours ago or so, I think.
It's unfortunate right in the middle of the workday.
Yeah, I know. I thought it was kind of stupid that they did that. Obviously, the circumstances are horrible, and our thoughts and prayers go out to the families. But I feel like this was a clear opportunity to make it the night game because there's no NFL on. There's really nothing competing with it. It's just kind of weird to put it in the middle of the day. But, yeah, it's whatever. This game was not very good. I was listening to some of it at work, and after one, it was 0-0. It looked like it was going to be pretty competitive, but in the end, Notre Dame wins 23-10. It was just kind of a blah game.
Although I will say, this is like the first win for Notre Dame in a bowl game that I think I've seen in, ever.
This is the best team Notre Dame has had in forever.
Notre Dame's made it to the national championship, got smoked by Alabama, I think it was. I mean, they've made these big bowl games, but it seems like they don't usually come out on top.
Yeah, this is like, I mean, I picked Notre Dame to win it or to make it in my bracket.
It's a little bit like the Oregon Ducks, I feel like.
Yeah, it's just the thing about Notre Dame is I thought they had an easy path, and you look at their season, and if they didn't lose to NIU, which I think is a fluke, just one of those things. It's like they did not show up to play. They just didn't show up. They'd be undefeated right now, and they probably would have had been ranked top 4. They wouldn't have a top 4 seed because they can't win a conference.
It's interesting that all of the bye teams, all of the teams with the bye lost 0-4.
I know,
so
it's kind of weird.
You don't want to get a bye. So maybe losing to Illinois and Northern Illinois was great.
It does.
Notre Dame would have lost otherwise.
Yeah, it does bring up a good point. Is it like the rest thing that people are saying? Like, it's crazy that I get it.
Comes with rest.
Yeah,
you know?
But I mean, I don't know. If you ask me, were the best 4 teams the ones with the bye? No, and that brings up a different argument of how you reseed it. And I think it'd make sense if the top 4 teams in the playoff are the top 4 teams ranked. They get the byes because they're the top 4 teams. And then if you win your but the thing about that is if you're going to give conference champions an automatic bid, I don't know, it just kind of messes things up a little bit. There's no structure really then.
Well, regardless of how they structure it or change it, it's not going to change the fact that you can't capture what March Madness has. No. And you there's no parity in college football. No. There's East Coast bias. It's SEC, Big Ten. It's all that. They have the better athletes. All of these smaller schools are just going to become the breeding grounds for these SEC and Big Ten teams. So
I get that, but I think if you're
regardless, you're going to have first round exits by those teams.
Yeah, but if you're the college football committee, you have to keep Cinderellas open because that's what makes sports so magical. Is the possibility of that.
Well, I get it. They can come in as an underdog, though. They're not going to be Cinderella because they're not going to win. You got to win to be Cinderella.
But I'm saying you have to keep that possibility open. Like, a lot of people are saying eliminate, like obviously I'm going to say Boise State. Like, don't, because Boise State, I mean, it's hard to say if they're a top 12 team because of the conference, but, like, you have to keep that open.
You have to let them in, but those teams just have to realize they're just getting a playoff game.
Oh yeah,
they're not going to win a championship. They're all gonna say, "Hey, we get to compete for a championship," but they don't compete.
I mean, you don't know that
for the championship.
I mean that's the history, but I'm just saying.
Yeah,
but I'm saying you have to keep that open.
Run. You can't go on a run though. Like you can go on a run in basketball, I feel like, but you can get hot and go on a run. I don't think any of these smaller schools have enough athletes to be able to go on a run. They might upset a team, but I just think that leads to a defeat in the next round.
Yeah.
It's better. Hey, whatever. It's better than it was.
Yeah.
So
it is.
And I think people just need to let this one simmer, do it again, give it 2 years under the same format, see what happens.
Yeah.
Just do it that way.
I think a wrench kind of got thrown in the plan a little bit because I don't think anybody expected the ACC to be the 12th seed. I think most people expected Boise State or whoever won the Mountain West to be the 12th seed.
Yeah.
No one envisioned this. And even out of the Big 12, I think most people probably envisioned not Arizona State. Obviously not Arizona State. They were ranked. They were like preseason betting had them like one of the bottom teams in the Big 12. So, but I think Arizona State battled. But yeah, I did see something from Joel Klatt today on his podcast. He said the biggest game, the game in college football with the most name recognition is the Rose Bowl. Why is that not in the national championship? And I 100% agree. Have that be the national championship. Why are we wasting the Rose Bowl in the middle of the quarterfinal? Make that the national championship venue. That would be unbelievable.
I just think, again, it's because it's on the West Coast. That's why. They've just always rotated that. It has hosted the national championship.
But like it should always.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't disagree.
If you ask everybody,
I just think there's too much money involved for the other ones. To give it. They'll never let that happen.
I know. It's just I don't know. I feel like that would be awesome. Like like even just watching that game, it was a bad game, but it just felt cool. The Rose Bowl, it's just the name, it's the stadium that's awesome. Probably one of the best stadiums ever, especially in the United States for just sports and football. I think that'd be great if they played the Rose Bowl as a national championship every year.
Yeah.
But anyway,
let's hope that there's more better games going forward.
I think there should be, but Notre Dame. I mean, Riley Leonard had 90 passing yards. It was just a weird game for Notre Dame. They ran the ball not that great either because their running back went out injured. Which could be something to monitor as they move forward. But Riley Leonard did have 80 on the ground. It felt like every third down that they needed to get, they're like, okay, we're just going to run Riley Leonard up the middle. But yeah, Georgia, their offense just did not look great without Carson Beck, but I'm not sure they would have looked good with Carson Beck. So, yeah, just kind of a boring game.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of just been the story of the playoff. There's been like one good game.
I mean, to be fair, I didn't watch any of this game, so I have nothing to really say about it.
I mean, the score is exactly what it was. It was just kind of like, man, this is not great. But we'll see in this next round. Hopefully we get some good games because so far it's been somewhat of a disappointment. And if you looked, like if they kept the same format as last year, it would be very different teams in the semifinal and to play for the national championship. So it's kind of interesting that these are the teams. But I think also with this new format, it's enabled teams to kind of there's not as much pressure during the regular season to only lose one or two at the most. Like before, it was like, man, you lose 3 games, you're out of it. Yeah. Now it's like you lose 3 games, you're probably middle of the pack. So hopefully the next few games are better and kind of show what we've all been waiting for. But yeah, that's it for the quarterfinal of the college football. So there's 2 more things we wanted to talk about. One of them being the Eagles are resting Saquon Barkley and deciding to not let him have the opportunity to break the record, the rushing record.
How do you feel about that?
There's 2 sides for it for me. if it was the Packers and Saquon Barkley was on the Packers, I'd say rest him. But as from the outside looking in, as a Packers fan, I want him to break it because that's just cool. Like, I want him to play and break it. And I'm not a Giants hater, but I think it would be pretty poetic to beat it, to break the record against the Giants. Which I don't completely blame the Giants for getting rid of Barkley because he definitely would not be this good on the Giants. It's not like it's apples to apples. It's not like if Barkley was still on the Giants right now, he'd be rushing for over 2,000 yards. But it would be a little poetic to see that happen because it's just like if it hasn't already been shoved in their face, just to see him do that. Now it'd be better if it was in MetLife, in front of the fans, if he did that. But I would want him to play. I want him to play. But I totally get it. You have nothing to gain from this game. Yeah, he's already eclipsed the historic 2,000 mark anyway, and I think that's enough.
You're 100 yards away. You gotta go for it.
Yeah, I agree.
You gotta go for it.
But
here's the plain simple truth right now. Philadelphia Eagles are not winning the Super Bowl.
Why not?
The Kansas City Chiefs are winning the Super Bowl. I've said it for the 7 weeks this thing's been going, right? I've said it all along. I've said it all year before we started doing this podcast. The Kansas City Chiefs are going to three-peat. So Barkley is a great team player, right? He's saying all the right things. But my God, you're 100 yards away. You're 100 yards away.
But what if he gets injured?
I get it. There is that. I understand that. But I feel like injuries happen when you're trying not to get hurt. Go out and play hard. I think when they go out and play hard,
but here's the other thing.
I think he can avoid it. I think he can get 100 yards in his sleep against the Giants. You got to go for it. Because when are you going to be there again?
True. But here's the other thing.
If you're Barkley, you're not winning the Super Bowl, so you might as well have the record.
You don't know that for sure. You cannot say that for sure.
I just said it.
Yeah, but you cannot. There is no way to know who's going to win the Super Bowl at this moment in time. What I'm saying is if Barkley plays, so does the O-line. They have to.
Okay.
Because part of this season, let's not act like this is Barkley just by himself. If it's a backup O-line, I'm not saying you wouldn't break it.
It's the Giants.
I understand that. But
they could do half starters, half backups, and he could probably get 100 yards.
But also you run the risk of, oh wait, he has 15 yards at the end of the first quarter. Do we really want to keep
make an
him
effort? I just think you ought to make an effort. I think you start him, you see how it goes, and then you sit him. You let him take a shot. Let him take a shot.
It is a.
I think rest will hurt them more than playing will. Because so here's the thing too. I agree with Dan Campbell the way he handles things. It's like, look, we get paid to play football. He could have sat his guys against San Francisco and he didn't. He played them, right?
That is way different.
No, it's not.
It is.
It's not.
No, it is.
He played guys. He could have rested them because it was a meaningless game. We're talking about a meaningless game.
Yeah, but you're not trying. You're going up to the biggest game of your season.
But the reason he's not playing is because they're deeming this a meaningless game. They can't improve their playoff positioning. They can't change anything.
I find it very different. Like, I get what you're saying, but I find it very different because
no, it's more similar.
No, but like, you're coming up on the biggest game of your season. I'm trying to keep momentum going into it. I'm trying to get a big win. Keep the offense humming. I'm trying to.
You can apply the same school of thought to the first round of the playoffs, though, too. It's like keep them humming, keep everybody playing, keep them going, and then you've got that first week.
I just find it very different because it's like one's the last week of the season, the other's there's 2 weeks left. And that would be almost unprecedented.
Oh, but most of the ESPN pundits were like, why did he play? He could have sat there. Yeah, he could have sat his guys and had them fresh for the Vikings. And instead,
Maybe it's just me, but I hate when people sit.
Well, I agree. I just think this is one of the most historic records in NFL history. You only get, one shot, it feels like, right? Because Adrian Peterson's a great back. He didn't do it. He almost did it. But I mean, and when he did that, I thought, oh, Adrian Peterson's dynamic. He'll be back. He'll do it again. Never came close. So the window for these running backs is so short. It's such a short window where they're this good. And the season he had, I feel like you got to have that. And I feel like the offensive line would want that.
I agree, but do you view his season any differently? I don't.
Well, if he wins the Super Bowl, I don't.
Well, I'm just saying.
Sure, he got 2,000 yards.
If you look back at this, I'm not like, man, he didn't get that.
But we're not talking about he needs 225 yards and that would be a big stretch. This is 106 yards or something like that.
I know.
106 yards. The dude gets that most times in the first half, and so I just feel like I feel like there should just be a shot. They should just take a shot at it and see.
I agree,
because what's going to happen, dollars to donuts right now, what's going to happen at the end of the season is Barkley sitting there and he's not the rushing record and he's not a Super Bowl champion.
How do you know that? How do you know that?
I don't know that. That's my guess. That's what I think will happen, though. Because I don't think Philadelphia is winning the Super Bowl. Because the Kansas City Chiefs are.
Okay. Yeah. But you could also... I'm just saying, is the risk worth the reward?
For Barkley, it is.
Yeah, for Barkley, but obviously he doesn't care.
For all those linemen, I think he does. I think he's just too good of a guy, and he's just too good of a leader to put it out there. I think he wants to go for it. I think he does, and I also think he's probably comfortable with it, but comfortable not going for it and being the team guy and understanding that it's probably not the right thing to do, But God, as a fan.
I agree.
I just think that you're so close. You should at least just give it a shot. If New York is stacking the box, you start him, and first quarter they're just like, you're not getting this record on me. Then you sit him. At least you went for it, and you kind of don't. You kind of at that point at least get some closure a little bit. There, maybe you close. No, but maybe you close the door on the what if. You're like, no, we went for it, we tried, and we got stopped.
I think it's better to not do it and be like, man, if he just played that next game.
I just think that's what will end up hurting him a little bit. And here's another thought. As shaky as that locker room was in the middle of the season and all the noise around that locker room, I just wonder how united that locker room is around this decision, because it seemed pretty split on the O-line. Some were for, some were against. So
they asked him?
Yeah.
Oh.
They asked them, and I don't know there were really only, I think, one or two. There were two linemen in particular that they showed comment that they got their comments on, and one was for rest and sitting, and the other one was like, we got to go for it. And so that's all I'm saying. I'm just saying if they go out and lay an egg, if the Packers roll into Philly and do the unthinkable, and you're Saquon Barkley and you're like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, but
if he makes it to the Super Bowl and he loses, he's like, hey, you know what? We did it. We got here. We just didn't execute. But I just think there's going to be a what if.
He's going to care, though.
I think there can be a what if.
I think if the Eagles end up losing in the playoffs, I don't think Barkley's going to look back at the season like, at least I got that rushing record.
I think a lot of players do that.
I think a lot of players do. I don't think Barkley will.
Well, I mean,
he seems like a team player.
Well, yeah, but I still think they should go for it.
I mean, I know I 100% agree, but I think it's almost better. Like, doing this, you're just riding off into the sunset, into the playoffs. You're not risking injury, because who knows? He could go out there and tear his ACL on a non-contact injury, and your season is over.
That could happen. That can happen in the first round of playoffs too.
I get that, but it's
the risk you take every time. You can't play afraid.
Yeah, but would the Chiefs rest him?
Andy Reid would rest him.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, so
the champions of the league would rest.
Okay.
10 times out of 10, I'm going to ask, what would the champions of the league do?
Oh, so now you're conceding that they're going to win the Super Bowl?
They won the Super Bowl last
Chiefs?
year.
No, but you're going to, but you know they're going to win it this year too.
I don't know
I
that.
think you do know that.
I
But
don't
you know what Saquon Barkley is thinking, is what you're saying, though. But you don't know what they're going to do.
He said what he's thinking.
Yeah.
He said what he's thinking.
It's okay.
He said it. He literally said in an interview he doesn't want to go for
He
it.
did the right thing for the media. He didn't give them any
So now you're saying the exact. So you're saying his brain said the exact opposite.
I think he's thinking. Yes.
For.
Well, how can I have evidence for that? It's just my thought.
Well,
it's
that's
just
I'm
it's your
going
thought.
off of what he said.
Well, but it's also your thought too of what you think he's thinking.
But he said it.
They say stuff all the time. Things are scripted. They're like, hey, this is what we need you to say. Got it, coach. I'll go and say the right things. I'm not going to give any fire to the media. I'm just going to go say the right thing. I
think this is going to tear apart the locker room
I think it could.
over a record.
It's Philly. They're nuts.
The fans are.
Dude, there's been chaos in the locker room all year. What have you been watching? I guess you haven't. You've been working through most games, but come on, man.
I think Philly could easily win the Super Bowl.
Easily?
They have the best roster in the NFL. They do.
Is this Jaden's hot takes right now?
How are you laughing at that? How are you laughing at that?
In the NFL?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. I don't know. I think there's a few above them.
Who?
I think the Lions. I think the Chiefs.
Not at this point.
I think Lions. I think the Chiefs.
The Chiefs, really? The best roster.
Dude, what do you define the best roster
The
as?
best players.
How? How do you measure the best players? Do they lead all the statistical categories? What's the best players?
Well, they have two good receivers. They have the best
okay,
running back
good
in the
receivers.
NFL.
So does Minnesota. They have better receivers in Minnesota.
Look at Philly's defense. They have players all over.
That's
Minnesota
just
doesn't.
good coaching.
So now you're saying it's good coaching on
Both sides.
Eagles.
And Vikings. It's good coaching.
You've been critical of
Dude,
Sirianni.
Philly. Well, I'm not. He's not responsible for the defense.
You said it's good coaching.
Yeah, defensive coordinator.
Okay.
Is the coach.
Well, if you're
Does
saying
he not
good
coach? Does he not coach?
I thought you were saying good coaching as in Nick
No.
Sirianni.
No, it's not due to Sirianni. I mean, he didn't even hire the coordinators, did he?
I'm just saying, ask most people, they'd say Philly has the best roster in the NFL.
Philly was garbage last year on defense. They didn't do much different.
They're the number one
And-
defense in the NFL.
Last year.
This
I said
year.
I'm not talking
I'm
this
talking
year.
about this year.
I know. I'm saying they are not. Who did they get? Who did they get on the roster they didn't have last year besides that rookie?
The corner. You're talking about him? Two rookie corners who are very good.
DeJean?
Yeah, and the other guy, Quinyon Mitchell, he's a top 5 corner
But
in the
most
league
of these
this year.
players were on the team last year, right?
Yeah, and they added Zach Bond from New Orleans, who is a beast now. They
Yeah.
moved it inside linebacker.
Well, I
He's
think
one
a lot
best.
of it is scheme and coaching, too.
No, I agree, but all I'm saying is they have the best roster in the NFL. Bar none.
I don't think
Bar
so.
none.
Bar none. Bar none. Okay, what is that?
This
Best
is not a
roster in
crazy
the
take.
NFL.
Yes.
Wow.
Who has a
Okay.
better roster?
Oh, man. Let's see. I still
this
believe
very
the
point.
Lions. I still
The
believe.
Lions, I'm saying right now,
The Lions.
with all those injuries on defense, they have the best roster.
Are they still not on the roster?
I'm saying starters playing
Oh.
in games.
I don't know. I still think you got
I'm
so
not saying
many.
they're the best team. I'm not saying they're going to win it all. I'm saying talented roster.
I don't know what you're saying.
Talented roster.
Team. Okay, what is that?
Support me, guys.
Okay.
Comment.
Apparently,
Tell
he's got
me-
the Eagles in the Super Bowl.
I
winning
never.
it.
I
The
just
best
said
roster,
that.
the best
I just
roster.
said that. I just said they're not
They're
gonna.
the
I never
best
said they're gonna
team
win the
and
Super
best
Bowl.
roster, and they're gonna win the Super Bowl.
I never said they're gonna win the Super Bowl. I
How
said
could
they
they
have the
not
best
if they're the
roster.
best?
Now you're just being ridiculous. Hey, I'm trying to defend you guys, Eagles fans. I'm trying to say you have a good roster,
You
the best
think
roster.
there's any Eagles fans watching this?
I don't know. Maybe.
No.
Maybe.
Okay, comment if you're an Eagles fan.
Yeah.
Let's get like 3 comments from Eagles fans. Or no, actually, screw that. 1.
3
One
comments?
comment. Yeah. We can't even get one normal comment. Let's get 1 comment from an Eagles fan. I guarantee nobody's watching this from the Eagles. But
I
apparently,
tried.
you're
Best roster, I'm saying.
best roster. Wow. Okay. Well, they better win.
That's
They better
I
win for
can't win with
Barkley's
you.
sake, man.
I can't win with you. I never once said they're winning the Super Bowl. I said simply they have the best players in the NFL as a group.
So the best team.
No. Best players.
Best
players
roster. As a group.
Roster.
Isn't that a team?
Roster.
Isn't a group of players is called a team,
team
right?
is coaching and everything. Roster. The roster is 53 players.
How do you
that
measure
play.
that? How do you measure the best?
Look at the team. Look at the players.
Okay, but what? What am I looking at?
Let's go on PFF and see how many players are graded super high on the Eagles.
Super high, huh?
It's just crazy that
Isn't there just some quick thing you can say like best team? Who is it?
Look at their roster up and down. Where are they weak? Where? I can't point it out.
Where are they weak? I don't know enough about the Eagles to really know.
I'm just saying. Like they have 2 wide receivers who have really great PFF grades. Obviously Barkley. Mailata is top tackle. So they have 2. They have left tackle, right tackle, very good.
Better than the Lions?
That's arguable. But that's just tackle.
Are the receivers better than the Lions receivers?
Yeah.
Are they better than
the duo? Yeah.
The duo. No, I'm talking one-on-one.
What do you mean
one-on-one? So who's AJ Brown? He's better than St. Brown. He's better than who's the other guy? I mean,
so you're saying just AJ Brown?
Or AJ Brown. Well,
AJ Brown versus St. Brown.
Well, you're saying them together? Because if you go together, they're not the best duo.
Well, I'm just saying, like, on the field.
Like Cincinnati's got the best duo receivers.
Oh, yeah.
Or
I think this duo's up there.
They're up there. They're not trash. I'm not saying they're trash. I'm just saying I don't necessarily believe top to bottom that Philly has assembled the best roster of players in the NFL.
Who has?
I don't know. It just doesn't feel like Philly.
I'm telling you, they're not weak almost anywhere. They got one of the best D linemen. They got one of the 2 of the best corners. Safety's a little weak. That's probably one spot.
So what's your So let's just fast forward here because Philly's gonna play Green Bay. So how many scores does Philly win by against Green Bay? How many points do they win by?
A score, I think.
Field goal or a touchdown?
Probably a touchdown.
Touchdown?
Maybe a touchdown and a field goal. 10. I'm not trying to say that they will put it together because I think they have coaching deficiencies, but especially with Sirianni, I don't know how well they're united and stuff like that. But if you take the word roster, what does roster mean? 53 players who play top to bottom.
How is that not saying the same thing as the best team?
What does a team encompass? The roster and the coaches.
Okay.
Does it not?
I mean, I
you
guess.
Can't just laugh that off.
I guess you want to get technical. Let's get technical. The best roster. Okay, whatever. We're moving on. On to the next.
I can't win. Guys.
On to the next.
I can't win. I'm trying to win. I cannot be the ridiculous one in this argument. I can't. It's just there's no way.
Hey, just because you don't want to be, it doesn't mean you're not.
There's no way I'm the ridiculous one in this argument. But yes. Moving on, we'd like to talk about the Pro Bowl votes, which were utterly ridiculous, almost more ridiculous than this argument. Let's see here. I'll pull up the roster here. I think we should just talk about the kind of the interesting votes. First off, you had Travis Kelce get the most votes out of any player, like total votes out of any player in the league, which is absolutely insane. And I'm sorry if there's any Swifties watching this, but this is your fault. I know it for a fact this is your fault because If you ask any Swiftie, who's name one NFL player? Travis Kelce is the first name that's coming out of their mouth.
So you think Swifties have driven this vote?
Yes, I do.
You think enough Swifties care enough to go and vote?
Yes, I do.
Or do you think these are all actual NFL fans that love Taylor Swift?
I think there can be two truths. I think it has to be, because why else would Travis Kelce get all the votes? What has he done this year to prove that he deserves these votes? Like, he's not even the best tight end. That's Brock Bowers this year. Trey McBride has been better. Who
has more touchdowns, Trey McBride or Travis Kelce?
That's an offensive deficiency, not Trey McBride. Yeah. Use him in the red zone.
He's definitely
Cardinals.
Just not the best rostered tight end.
That makes no sense. That makes no sense.
As much sense as your argument did. Just kidding.
You cannot. We're done with that. We're done. But yeah, I don't know. I think Jonathan Taylor, is he really a Pro Bowler in the AFC?
So maybe the best thing to discuss first, like they can pull up and see these rosters, right? But what about the snubs?
Okay.
Right, the snubs. Okay, so NFC quarterbacks on the Pro Bowl quarterbacks this year was what? Jared Goff.
Yep.
Okay, deserved. Sam Darnold.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Jaden Daniels.
I heard Jaden Daniels is a top QB vote getter as well.
Yep, and biggest snub is probably Baker Mayfield right now. Baker,
yeah, I'd say
fifth in yards per attempt, second in touchdown passes, third in passing yards.
Yeah,
pretty. That's a big snub. Second snub was Daniil Hunter for Houston Texans. I just don't think any Texan is really a Pro Bowler this year. They've been bad.
Good, though.
He's played good, but I have a little bit of Vikings bias with this guy. Jordan Mailata, Philadelphia Eagles, offensive tackle. Wow.
Saying.
Man.
Snubbed.
On the best roster in football, he doesn't make it. Whoa.
Hey, Eagles.
So weird. Who would have made it ahead of him?
Hey, it's tough, though.
Who would have made it ahead
when
of
you
him?
only get 3 tackles and you got Penei Sewell and Tristan Wirfs in the NFC, it's hard.
Yeah.
And Lane Johnson on your own team, which is just he's got name value over you.
Man, just sucks to be this guy. All right, James Cook, Buffalo Bills.
So
That's
he
an interesting one.
could have made it over Jonathan Taylor, probably, I think.
981 yards and 15 touchdowns on 197 carries, 258 yards and 2 touchdowns on 32 receptions.
Yeah.
I think he battled some injury, didn't he?
He probably should have made it, yeah.
Was he hurt? I think he missed. Did he miss a couple games?
I have no idea. I think bottom line here is that this system is broken.
Well, here. Hold that comment, though, for the system broken.
Uh-huh.
Because how in the world does Kirby Joseph not make it?
Over Budda Baker, 100%.
And guess what?
100%.
There was a safety that made it from the Lions.
Brian
but it
Branch.
was Brian Branch.
I don't know. I think Brian Branch is a better player.
Kirby Joseph has 9 interceptions.
I get that, but, interceptions, I will say this with McKinney, too. A lot of what safeties do is not flashy and comes...
But if you get 9 interceptions in a season, you should be a Pro Bowler.
Hey, I agree. But if I was doubting it with Deron Bland, I'm gonna doubt it with Kirby Joseph and Xavier McKinney. It's not repeatable. Picks can sometimes be. I do think Kirby Joseph's a good safety and should make
9.
it.
9.
He should definitely make it over Budda Baker.
Aren't there
no doubt.
teams? The Giants as a team don't even have 9 interceptions.
No.
It's like
not even close.
So anyway. Malik Neighbors.
There is
up and down.
There is no you cannot tell me over Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, McLaurin, or Amon-Ra St. Brown. He
currently 4th in receptions with 104.
Okay.
8th in receiving yards, 1140. 6 receiving touchdowns. and his quarterbacks throwing to him are Daniel Jones, Tommy DeVito, Drew Lock, and Tim Boyle.
I get that, but that should never be included in the Pro Bowl voting. So I think they got it right on this one.
I mean, he's been targeted 162 times. I get
that.
I mean, you plug. I don't know. I just think,
but all these guys have been better.
Malik Neighbors did pretty good with really crappy guys throwing
I think
balls.
he's a good receiver. I think he'll be a household
I mean, he's a
name.
rookie. It's fine. It's fine to not give it to him because he's a rookie. But he had a pretty damn good season.
No, I agree. I'm just saying it's hard to beat out those.
Oh my
four
gosh,
guys.
another safety for the Eagles, C.J. Gardner-Johnson on
I
this
don't
best
necessarily
roster,
agree with that.
man. Kyron Williams.
Again, it's
Rams
hard.
running back,
It's hard to beat out Barkley, Gibbs, or Jacobs.
Yeah,
in the NFC, it's hard.
Yeah, that's
Plus,
just
he's been pretty inefficient this year.
Yeah. Oh, and Brian Thomas Jr. of Jacksonville. Nah, come on.
He's been the best. Okay, hold on. Do I put him in over Jerry Jeudy? Yes.
Oh, Jerry Jeudy had a really great year.
He did, but Brian Thomas is his
fourth receiver off the board.
You don't want to admit it, but he's been the best rookie wide receiver.
1,179 receiving yards. At least 7 catches for 86 yards in each of his last 4 games.
He's been the best rookie wide receiver.
Okay, what about Bucky Irving?
Again,
Tampa Bay, stacked backfield.
If Kyron Williams isn't going to make it, he's not.
Yep.
It's a flawed system. I don't know why we let these fans vote. I'm nothing against the fans of the NFL, but it's honestly embarrassing that Pro Bowls are used to negotiate contracts and used.
Never forget that, especially what? Sorry.
And it's especially since it's a flag football game now.
Yeah.
It's like, how is this used, to not only get contracts, but also when you're looking at a guy's career, he made the Pro Bowl 8 times. Who cares?
Never
This
forget.
is not even legitimate.
Tyler Huntley.
Yeah. Mac Jones made a Pro Bowl.
Backup has a Pro Bowl.
Mac Jones made a Pro Bowl, too.
So.
It's like, I much more value all pros. All pro is so much, because it's hard to win an all pro, especially first team. You have to truly be the best at your position to win an all pro. Plus, the thing about the Pro Bowl is it's just like, why are we even doing this at this point? Nobody watches it. I'll probably watch it. I'll watch like the skills
flag football
stuff.
game is way better than what it used to be.
Yeah, but now it's just crazy
It's
that
way
we even
better
value
now.
this.
The flag football thing's way better. They actually
it's
try.
better. No, yeah, okay. I think it's more fun to watch, but it just feels like, wow, he's a Pro Bowler. Nice. Like, it makes no sense.
Wait, but all you Eli Manning haters are holding that against him being a first ballot Hall of Fame
really?
induction. Oh, yeah, he's only a 3-time Pro Bowler.
Well, did they always used to be a fan vote?
I think they've most often been. I don't know. I remember it as far back as I can remember. It's been a fan vote, but it might not have been. I don't know.
I think honestly, first team All Pros should be very valuable in a Hall of Fame case. Even second team, because first team means you are literally the best at your position, and that is much more impressive than a Pro Bowl where 3 quarterbacks make it out of each team.
Well, and I think it's been a combination of fans, coaches, and players voting for Pro
But
Bowl.
now it seems like it's just fans, and it's just like, this is stupid.
Yeah.
like this is not actually real at this point. But I mean, who cares? It's a flag football game. Might be fun to watch. Hey, if some of these players want to be in the Super Bowl, then they don't have to play in the Pro Bowl. So, yeah, it's just, I don't know. I mean, Max Crosby, he's been injured for half the season. He's on the roster. I don't get that. Like, it makes no sense. And like, who else is like, I'm sorry, but has Khalil Mack done anything all year? I don't know.
The forgotten guy.
Yeah, it's just,
People have forgotten about him.
it's so, makes no sense. Just like, are we serious? Like,
it's funny they still name punters and kickers.
I know.
It's not even in the game.
I know. It's just, I mean, I'm looking on here, and I mean, like, I don't know. Is Van Ginkel a Pro Bowler? Maybe. I don't know. Maybe that's just the Packers fan coming out. But, I mean, like, Dexter Lawrence is injured. He made it. It's like, I mean, he's been injured for like 5 weeks. I don't know. It feels like this is the – and Rashawn Gary. How did Rashawn Gary – even as a Packers fan, how did he make it? Like, are we serious? How did Rashawn Gary make the Pro Bowl?
That must have been the players and coaches.
I just like, what are we doing, guys? It's just – it's so illegitimate. It's not even worth paying attention at this point. Yeah. But, yeah, it's really all we wanted to talk about today. The college football – our heated debate on the Eagles and their decision with Saquon Barkley and the Pro Bowl. I don't even know when the next sporting event is on. Probably Saturday.
Yeah, NFL games is Saturday.
So if anything crazy happens, we might talk about stuff tomorrow, but probably not. We'll probably be back Saturday night to talk about NFL.
Great slate of games this weekend. Not really. Very boring.
What even are they?
Oh, they're just, not a whole lot of meaningful ones until Sunday night.
Saturdays, Browns at Ravens and Bengals at Steelers. So that Bengals one could be cool because the Bengals have to win to keep their playoff hopes alive. But I don't think it'll end up mattering. But yeah. So thanks for watching, guys.
Sure to like and subscribe.
Yeah. Stay safe. Have a good night. Goodbye.